Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Pondcast. My name is Draconis. Joining me today is Chase.
Howdy.
And Guren.
Hello.
And today we're bringing you another Deep End episode. This is a theory that I have been working on, kind of playing with, thoughts, ideas, and I wanted to bring it to my Pondcast co-hosts and see what their takes are on it. Before we get started, please remember to share, like, subscribe, let us know how we're doing, what you think, and feel free to comment down below any thoughts and ideas that correlate to the episode. By all means, we'd love to hear these. So, getting started, this theory is alternate forms. We have been getting so many great regional forms, and there have been introducing methods on being able to get Form A or Form B, but if they continue to do more regional forms, especially if they keep hitting the same Pokemon over again, what alternate ways would we be able to get these very unique Pokemon? And it got me thinking. We have already mechanics built into the game that we can just expand on should the need arise. And I've cultivated a list of all of the variant alternate forms, the regional variants, and how we could, in theory, get those missing evolutions. Let's say, for example, 3 new starters in Pokemon Legends Arceus of Decidueye, Typhlosion, and Samurai. And taking Decidueye, you would normally have him go into Grass Ghost type, but in Pokemon Legends Arceus, you would get a Grass Fighting type. So what if giving an item to Dartrix before he evolves, as he evolves, would allow you to force the evolution one way or another? So, for example, taking the Reaper Cloth and giving it to Dartrix, letting him evolve naturally at level 34, would give you Alolan Decidueye, whereas giving him the Black Belt and letting him evolve naturally at level 36 would give you Hisuian Decidueye. Or in the case of Marowak, you have the Soft Sand versus the Reaper Cloth, because your 2 variants are going to be Ground or Ghost Fire. But then you've come to the aspects of Pokemon like Vulpix and Sandshrew, who have pre-evolutions in that different form. So you're looking at, say, let's take for instance Vulpix. Instead of being able to get Alolan Vulpix out of just, forcing it from a Cantonian Vulpix, you could put a Cantonian Vulpix in the daycare center with Nevermelt Ice, which would increase the chances of the egg that you get to be an Alolan style Vulpix. Or give the Alolan Vulpix the Flame Orb to give a better chance of a Cantonian egg. Similarly, you can take the eggs that you would normally get from the daycare center and go to a very specific location and hatch the egg, and that egg would then produce your Alolan or Cantonian variant as a possibility, which might work for a couple of other Pokemon. But then there's the one oddball that I've come across this entire list, and it is the only one with 3 distinct forms, which is Meowth. Meowth has a normal, has a steel, and has a dark type. And the only way I could think of this particular Pokemon to really work to try and get the forms would be to use an item being held by a Meowth variant within the daycare center. So you can use the Silk Scarf for a normal type, the Metal Coat for the steel type, or the Black Glasses for a dark type. And I have an entire list of all of the different variants, just trying to figure out what is the best way of getting all of these different forms with mechanics that already exist in the game, but without using the Everstone trick that has become prominent with some of the more recent games. What do you guys take on that? I mean, I can go through the entire list if you like, but it's going to be a while then.
I mean, I like the idea of being able to use items to get the different regional variants. Yeah, it does become tricky with Pokemon like Meowth that have regional variants of their base forms, but I'm sure there could be ways to work around it, even if you gave, let's say for example, you were breeding Persian and you gave one of them a Metal Coat and then it miraculously bred a Galarian Meowth. The concept is a very interesting one. I really like it.
Yeah, because we do have these items, right? They are quote-unquote like evolution items, like the Reaper Cloth, or like items like the Reaper Cloth are considered like evolution items and whatnot. I think having those items, like let's say like for the newer games, for example, too, right? Like I think the newest Scarlet Violet trailer, since we're talking about Meowth, it did show a Cantonian Meowth in there. But it makes you wonder, right? Like, is there going to be another way to get the other Meowth forms besides transferring it over from like Pokemon Home? Like, who knows how long like it'll take for Pokemon Home to have like some kind of integration with Scarlet and Violet. So maybe like having those options of like breeding that, I guess in this case, a Cantonian Persian with said item being held, then you get like the other forms instead. I think that's a good way to like make use of those items even more so. Like, because I know stuff like Black Glasses, I think, raises the damage of your dark type moves. Metal Coat, I think, raises defense when you put it on. I'm not entirely sure, or it raises steel type moves. But I think having that other use for them to like get these other forms of Pokemon is a great idea as well. Because I mean, why not? I mean, like they already made it a thing where items are important to like Pokemon evolutions. Why not just make them like also important towards breeding other Pokemon? I mean, the best case scenario like item that I can think of, or the best example item, are like the incenses, right? You need those to get like the baby forms of like Pokemon, right? Or most baby Pokemon. So I think it could work. You know, like it's not a bad idea at all.
One of the biggest things that I wanted to try and emphasize is that we have so many of these items that are one and dones. They only have one or two uses, and then they just sit in your inventory taking up space until the next time you choose to use them. And if you're breeding competitive Pokemon, you're only going to use that item once, maybe twice, depending on what your build stack is going to be. But for example, sometimes we've gone through in Sword and Shield, we had the people who you could give certain types of items to for currency, and they'll go and start digging for things. And then they'll come back and they'll say, well, I found 3 hardstones, and I found a fossil, and I found this bottle cap. And it's like, great, I don't need 3 hardstones. What am I going to use 3 hardstones for? They're just going to sit and take up inventory space unless I choose to sell them. And even when you sell them, they don't really sell for a whole lot. So, you know, and some of these stores will sell you these items in large multiple numbers as well. So again, it's why are these characters here and why are they selling things if I don't need more than just a small handful? So I wanted to find a way to make more use of these particular items so that they're a little more valuable, so that when you get more of them, that it's like, oh great, I can do this now, and not have to worry about I have to go to the store to sell because they're just sitting in my inventory and doing nothing, and now I've got to go through a list of like 30 to 40 items to get one item I'm looking for while I'm in the middle of battle. So I'm thinking things like, for most ghost typing, you can use the Reaper Cloth. For fighting types, you can use Black Belt. Psychic types, Twisted Spoon. Now, there are some Pokemon, though, that I think would require a very specific item because of what is already written into their descriptions. And the one that comes to mind for me has been Executor, because Executor in its own bio says that the reason it becomes a psychic type and not a dragon type is because, unlike Alola, all of the other regions do not get the same amount of sun. So instead of using a Dragon Fang, in this case, I would say you give, instead of just hitting it with the Leaf Stone to get the psychic type version, you can let it hold a Sunstone, which would play off of its biography of getting more sunlight, and then hitting it with a Leaf Stone to get your Alolan Executor. Same thing goes if you're in an area where you would normally get an Alolan Executor, you can give it the Twisted Spoon and instead give it and then hit it with a Leaf Stone to give it the Psychic typing instead. Or the Dusk Stone, make it hold the Dusk Stone so it's not getting as much light, quote unquote, as a mechanic. Because we have Pokemon that evolve when they're holding a specific item, and Pokemon that evolve in locations.
One thing that could be a bit of an issue is possibly Runarigas, because its evolution method is very unique.
True, but Yamask is different depending on what you have, and with that one, I actually thought that one through. The spell tag for the ghost typing and the soft sand for the ground typing, and you would get that one through a daycare center. It would increase your chances. Let's say when you're doing the daycare egg hatch, instead of giving a 0% chance, it boosts your chance of getting that specific egg, say 20%. So putting a Galarian Yamask with a spell tag, which give you a 20% chance of hatching the other Yamask. So it makes it still not 100% plausible or possible, but it does give you that shot so that if you want to get those other forms into the game, you have the ability to.
Yeah, see, for a second I forgot that Yamask had 2 variants.
But I think of using items for evolutions like later on, I think is a smart. I mean, I think it'll be okay because like when you think about it as well, right? Like I think one good case is Eevee. I want to say like before, like when you had to evolve it in like Gen 4 and stuff, you had to be near those rocks, right? The mossy rock or the ice glacial rock or something like that. But then like I think nowadays you can actually just use like a leaf stone or a ice stone, right? I mean, ice stone is a new addition in Gen 7 anyways, but like now you can just use that, I think, right, to evolve your Eevee into a Glaceon or to Leafeon in that respect. So I think maybe the Pokemon Company they'll probably continue to do more things like that. I don't know until like what extent, but I think you really got a point there too, like that one, because like I don't want all these items. What am I supposed to do with like the 50 hard stones that these guys dig up? Like I can sell them, sure, like you said earlier. I mean, they don't give me much money, but I guess it's still money. But it's like, what's the point of them digging all this up then? I mean, like I'd rather just have them dig up more fossils for me, so I can have more chances of possibly getting that shiny, like, you know, Fossilmon or something with the right ability too. While we're at it, I wouldn't put it past them to just like gloss it over and just be like, you know what? No, let's not do that. Let's just keep things as they are. But I think different evolution methods though is something they should experiment with, and it definitely can't go wrong.
It also gives the daycare center something else other than just, I want to breed the most perfect Mon. No, now I want to try and get one of the other versions of this Mon.
Yeah, because like especially for that too, right? Because like before, it's like you leave them in a daycare, they level up for you, and then they change the moves for you, which I hated because sometimes they take out a really good move, But back then, of course, and then now, like I think for Sword and Shield, like Pokemon don't even level up, right? They're just there. You just leave them there to breed, like that's it, or you just leave them there just to leave them there. Be like that one guy who left Charmander and never came back, But
now that they incorporated the whole egg move mechanic into the daycare center, which makes them a little bit more appealing. But this would also add another layer to that appeal as well, I think. But again, this is just me spitballing a thought bubble, and I just wanted to get everybody's opinion on this. I know it's crazy. I know, like, most of my theories are bat crap nuts, but at the same time, I try to keep them to some level of plausibility.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with, like, for you people watching the podcast, there's nothing wrong with sharing theories. I mean, that's probably why you're here too, right? You want to hear all these theories, you want to hear all these interesting things, and like, yeah, maybe you'll click with us. You'll click with something that we're talking about. Maybe you'll have your own thoughts and opinions that you can leave in the comment section down below.
Basically, because you're a GameFreak employee, we could kind of believe some of this and think it's quite a possibility.
I am not a GameFreak employee.
Oh, sorry, a Pokemon Company employee. There we go. Sorry, I get the companies mixed up. Sorry. No.
Remember, guys, he's not the uncle on Pokemon Company.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
Draco's the cat's uncle.
Oh, you guys are going to get us in trouble. I solemnly swear I am not affiliated with the Pokemon Company, Nintendo, or GameFreak. I just happen to have a really good guess record. But watch, Black and White and Black and White 2 are going to be on the same card. You're going to get White, White 2, and then Black and Black 2. Just like Cyber Sleuth.
Make it just like, not just like 2 games on one card. Just make it like 1 game already, honestly. Like, that would be great. I would be down for that. Like just have it like a continuing story. Like there's just gonna be like some kind of time skip like after you beat the game, and then or actually, but I want to know how that would work later on. No, it's gonna be a time skip, and you're playing as a new person anyway. So yeah, that's fine. maybe delve into the story about like what happened to our characters after they flew off with the legendary dragon or something. Pokemon Adventures.
Yeah, that's one thing I always. That's one thing I always want to know. What happens after you catch a legendary? Because, like, for example, Xerneas, I think its Pokédex entry says it keeps balance of life or some stuff, or something to that extent. But then you catch it in a little metal sphere. Then what happens to the ecosystem?
Exactly.
That is a whole other kind of worms that I think we need for a different story, a different deep end altogether. The world ends when you've caught God.
Right, yeah, that's the other thing too. You catch an Arceus and it's like, okay, what now? Well, I mean, granted, Arceus hasn't been doing anything ever since, but I mean...
Oh god, that reminds me of an old cartoon series that they did. I think it was from College Humor, where there's a philosophical debate that happens when you encounter Arceus, and then the guy gets caught. The guy catches Arceus, and then all of a sudden he starts using him in Pokemon battles. And you're like, wait a minute, aren't you Pokemon God? Yes, I am. What are you doing being caught by a human? Don't ask questions.
I made the world this way, and I must abide by its rules.
I made the world for Pokemon. Then the humans showed up somewhere, and you just kind of see Hoopa just kind of snickering in the corner, going, "I just eat the kind of bunch of people in here. Now they're gonna mess up this world."
The problem child. One of them.
Damn it, Hoopa! You brought the humans into the world, and now they screwed everything up.
Arceus makes Hoopa, and then Hoopa goes on a rampage. And that meme, Arceus is just like, "Ha, I'm in danger."
Yeah, Dialga, Master of Time. Palkia, Master of Space. Or it's the other way around. I always get the two confused.
I think it's the other way. Around.
Yeah, so Palkia, the Master of Time, and Dialga, the Master of Space. And all gets shot to hell because Hoopa, the mischievous ring Pokemon. Arceus just goes, "Hey guys, can you rewind time?" Yeah, I would do that, but every time I try, that guy shows up.
Hoopa is like the Goku Black and the Reverse Flash of like Marvel and Dragon Ball. Really.
No, Hoopa's the jokey Smurf of the Pokemon world. Let's face some facts. Instead of exploding presents, he just opens up Hoopa holes. Here's an Arceus from another dimension.
Oh.
Wait a minute. Hold up.
Why is it shiny? It's like a shiny variant too, yeah. Like, oh.
Who peed on Arceus?
With that, this brings my crazy theory to a close, and as well as the episode. And again, let us know what you think. Do you kind of see where I'm going with this? Am I completely off the mark? Let us know down below. And as always, have an amazing day. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.